I'm excited to welcome you to eMoney 105, presenting the plan. Of all the different sections of eMoney Masterclass, this is probably my favorite. This is the one where I love to get in arguments with other financial planners. I love to just genuinely change the way I'm presenting all the time to find the best way. I always feel like when it comes to presenting a plan, I have to deal with two sides, right? I have this devil and this angel, if you've ever seen the cartoons. And sometimes I have this devil side of me that's analytic. And I always like to kind of give the example of Michael Kitces. I like to refer to myself as a Michael Kitces disciple, and I want to get analytical, I want to get in a plan. And then the other side, I got this angel side of me that I like to call the Carl Richards side, where it's like, just love the client, let's give them hugs, right? It's just feeling based. And I think a lot of us financial planners that care about this profession, we're constantly in that tug of war. That's the same as the medical profession. If somebody's presenting information, how much information you give the client to make an informed decision versus how little do you tell them, right? And it's just this back and forth. And so I think eMoney is a great tool because it allows me to, with each individual client, to tailor that. I actually have a lot of engineer clients. I know a lot of financial planners out there don't love engineer clients. I do, and they tend to like me. I get a lot of them. But I also have a lot of other clients that don't want to know as much. And so I'm able to use this tool. So what we're going to start is an overview and understanding all the ways to present to a client, kind of give you an overview, and then as we go through this, diving deeper into the ways that we present to clients. So let's dive right in there. I don't think I could do an overview of presenting to your client without starting here. If you're presenting to a client, be in present mode, right? Do you see how I'm in present mode? This is so important. I've covered this throughout all of eMoney. This is the first class you've watched. You can go back and watch the other ones, but it's really, really important to understand this present mode. What this allows is this takes away all the stuff up top, but most importantly, if your computer were to crash, you would hit X out, and you came back in eMoney, it's gonna come back in and shield your client's information so that they don't see other clients' information. So important from that protection of presenting to your client. The next part of this, when we come in here, is we want to understand the facts, the plans, and I want to start out with facts. We want to be here in base facts. And so in base facts, it's so vitally important to know that we want to be in the base, not in the advanced. Why do we use this? Because I believe, and I've covered this already the other one, so this is going to be a very quick overview. The order, what they have this in, the fact they call it facts. We learn as CFP professionals that one of the 6 major areas of financial planning is the present cash position, understanding your finances, understanding where you're at. And I don't believe there's a better way to go through this. I love the order that this is presented in, the priorities. That's what we like to call financial priorities. You might call them deep-rooted goals. You might call them core values. You might call them fundamental beliefs. On our team, it's the top 3 things that very, very rarely change. Something fundamentally have to change for the client's entire life. They became an empty nester, their whole view on life changed, somebody close to them died, whatever it might be. We go through their goals, which are numeric, short-term or longer-term, but numeric specific. And we go through all these different areas. I really, really love this. If I'm presenting to a client, I really love that it ends with observations and next steps, because that's where we're going to put our recommendations in the client, and that's where we're going to utilize the next steps to communicate with them in their client portal. Before we move on to plans and we get into the heart of eMoney, which is Decision Center, and another useful tool, which is the Goal Planner, and before we get into reports, if we're presenting to the client, one of the things I want to always encourage you is to utilize your client portal in front of the client. Even if a client says they don't use it, I like to show it to them because you never know when they start using online or when things have changed in their life. If I have a valuable tool that's available to them and they didn't know it, that's useless to them because you never know when things are going to change. So when we are come up here, we're going to click on this little globe up here. It's one of the game changers for eMoney is this client portal. We're going to go to Manage. And then we're going to come in here, we're going to preview client website. And this allows us to preview the client portal. Now we have all of our client stuff for onboarding. Again, we're a big fan of this. I talk about that in a previous class. We're just going to skip because this is a sample client, so we're going to go to the home page. But I like to come in here and mimic these things. Like when I'm showing a client, if I show a report, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Client, you can come grab this reports on demand. Right? Here's how to come in and get these reports. Let me show them that. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Client, you can come in your vault, and I shared this with you inside of your vault. Here's how to get here. So I just think the more and more you can show them that, the more and more they can use this portal as an interactive. One of the big ones for us is, Mr. and Mrs. Client, let's talk to you about your goals. Yes, they're down here. Let's come up here. Let's pay attention to our probability of success as opposed to our balances of our portfolio. There's a lot of people out there that don't want to call it probability of success. They call it probability of change. I love that, but that's like getting a old dog, teach them new tricks. It's so in my vernacular to say probability of success. Probability of change, there's a whole reason why. This is the probability you might have to change. I think it is better language, so I encourage you to use that language and have it up. But bottom line is people kind of get 90% is good. Like it's just like school. They kind of know 80% is a B, 90% is an A. And I'm trying to get it to 90%, which we call high probability on our team, right? They know 70% is a C. Like, I think it's a lot easier for people to get probability of success, especially when it's red and it's green and it's yellow, than people make it out to be. But the other day, if we can find better ways to talk to our clients, that's always great. So again, coming in here is another great way to present. So we're gonna go back up to the top here, and we're gonna hit sign out. And this sign out is gonna bring me right back into the advisor side of things. So now that we're on the planner side, let's click on plans. And so for those of you using eMoney, there used to be 3 of these, right? So there used to be estate, then there was decision center, and there was goal planner. Now there's just 2. And one of the things I really like about this is decision center as a cash flow based software. They keep putting this, it's the heart of eMoney. All the different updates that they're putting towards that I have seen have been to enhance and improve Decision Center. I love just the name Decision Center. Our company's mission statement is we educate and empower clients to make informed financial decisions, right? Well, I believe that's what our role is as a financial planner, is to help people make decisions. They make decisions every day, but do they make it from an informed basis? Do they understand it? And I think what Decision Center does better than any software is allow us to interactively share that information with the client. There are some other softwares that might have more aesthetically pleasing reports. They might have a certain feature that's better, but in my opinion, when you bring it all together, this Decision Center is the crown jewel of what's going on in here. Because of that, I don't talk much about Goal Planner. So I'm just gonna click on Goal Planner. When do we use Goal Planner and when do we present to clients? What's important to understand, a Goal Planner is trying to make this goals-based presentation. So those of you that come from a goals-based software world and you're converting over eMoney, these columns, the way that they're presented, it might be comforting to you. Somebody that's like me, that's cash flow based, or you come from another cash flow based competitor, it's gonna feel really awkward and weird to be in here. What I do love for presentation and where we come in here on a regular basis is from the education standpoint of view. And we really love this when we're doing education, or we have a very specific short-term spending goal. We can come in here and we can click on this education one. It brings up, it has my alma mater's logo incorrectly. Hopefully at some point in time that will change, but it allows us to see that logo right away and connect with the client. So I love any type of way I can personalize it. So if I'm your client and you show that my daughter's gonna go to Pitt, I always say my daughter can go to any college she wants, but if she wants me to assist her in paying it, she's gonna pick Pitt. Kind of joking, kind of not joking about that. But I think it's important to be able to show this in here, be able to cover the worst case, likely case. Yes, you can get a lot of this information under reports, but this is quick, and we can click on blue links to change it around really fast. When you show the probabilities, I just think it's laid out very, very well. That's why I like this. And then we can X out of here. And what I love about this is we can show side by side. That's really the time that we use this. The only other time that we use this is if we have a client that's trying to decide between 3 or 4 things. Because I like to be interactive, right? Like, oh, Greg, you showed me at 60. What if I retire at 59? You know, what if we do this, that one little tweak, and we really get down to the base plan, the alternatives, which are our sandbox, and our recommended plan. But there are times where a client can't decide. And so I love when I have those times to do a side-by-side comparison. So you guys said you could make your decision whether to pay for college based upon the dedicated assets or to pay for college on dedicated assets and out of income. And just being able to see the side-by-side probabilities, right? This one's 91%, this one's 86%. Which option do we want to pick? So it allows, using the decision center language, allows you sometimes to clarify your decisions. Especially, again, you can go 4 wide on here if there's like 4 big major decisions and having proper names up there. The other thing I do like to do from a goal planner overview standpoint of view is I love inside of goal planner and inside of decision center, this go to presentation. All go to presentation does is create a really simple report that's easy to download, right? So you can click on download and distribute. It goes right to the client portal. They see it, it's shared with the client right away. You can download a draft if you just want to look at it without the client getting it sent to their portal and then get an alert that you had that report. If you forget what any of these are, you can click on the blue and it pulls it up. You can turn these on and off. Some of you like to build out your own presentations, and you can go under reports, under presentations, and build them out. But this is like a really quick and easy way to have a deliverable. We like these a lot. But let's go under plans. And you'll see under decision center. And again, we use the go to presentation. Every time we meet with a client and have a conversation, we memorialize it by go to presentation. All it did was custom build out a presentation. If you have your own presentations built out, this might not seem like too much of a hack. Let's talk about the overview of Decision Center. We're going to spend a lot more time in Decision Center here coming up in this section. But I want to just kind of point out some of the things, and I want to be clear about this. They're updating Decision Center on a very regular basis. If my screen doesn't look like your screen, you might have a more advanced version of eMoney, things that might have changed. Just reach out to us so we can refilm this video, so we can look at updated and enhancing as we go along. But the basics of what we need to understand here is we have our plan. This is going to have all the different plans. And this used to be called techniques and advanced techniques for those who've been longtime users. But as plans, we're getting this idea like these are the plans you're going to do. And Mr. and Mrs. Client, we're going to keep that plan in place until it becomes the base plan. These are the things we're testing against. Everything that we click over here allows us to over here from an interactive perspective. What ifs are going to be what if we did this? It applies to more than one plan. You could do just about any what if inside the plan, and you may choose to do that. What this allows us to do is build out one scenario that we can test across multiple plans. Pros and cons of when you want to do that, but understanding what those what ifs do. The great part is you can use these what ifs in reports under what ifs by turning them on. Another great part is you can also, there's pre-built out, which is really great. That's pre-built out. I don't have to sit there and type in all the stuff for disability. I wish it was a little bit more built out. I wish like long-term care, I could put my assumptions in there and it's already built out for me. But you can also create your own what ifs. I also would love for pre-built out what ifs that I could create to our team, that these are scenarios we always use. As we scroll down, this is one of the areas you're going to continue to see the optimizers and insights. Depending on your version of the software, you might have different ones. We really love this. This is where eMoney's really made artificial intelligence do some of the work for us. How many times I have a client question, well, Greg, that's great. What's the earliest I can retire and be successful? What's the maximum amount of money I can spend and not run out of money? What's the maximum additional savings needed? What's my life insurance gap? I really love this because it allows us to pick the probability of success and allows the client to see the computer working, and it really makes them feel like this isn't a biased decision. This is an unbiased. The computer's just taking the inputs and doing that. Optimizers, we don't use much. And the reason why we don't use them much is this is more linear, right? But this is a really cool strategy, a liquidation strategy, a lot of other ones that are out there. So great tools there, but let's scroll back up. And we want to understand this lifetime portfolio value. I wish I could default this to Monte Carlo. We want to be a Monte Carlo summary about roughly 90% of the time. That's 63% of all statistics are made up on the spot, whether it's 90, 91%. All I'm trying to make the point is this majority of the time. A lot of these areas have been pushed into Decision Center. I'm going to go over all these in a future on this section. This is just the overview really quick, so I just want you to see all these things. It's also important to understand all of our years are up here, right? So we can pick the different years. If we click off that, not only can we do that, but we can also use these bars, right, to just hone in on years, right? All different planning. One of the other cool features inside of here is you can now click on this linear projections, and you can show different types. So you can show average, start to get some more of the Monte Carlo, even with a straight line. We could switch from future value to present value, right? $10 million doesn't spend like it used to. So it's really great to have that as a feature inside of here. I also want to show the multi-view feature. This is fairly new, but one of the nice things on multi, we can add in here, we can put more than one block. So where does this become valuable is where you want to show maybe income tax and you want to show Monte Carlo. So these are different ones, just click on one of them, right? And you could go in, you could change around all these different ones inside here, but now we can show Monte Carlo versus state flow versus asset spread versus total taxes. We don't use it much on our team. I think it's a really cool feature. We just find it's kind of information overload. So, or we typically only want to use show 2 at a time, and it's just the size of it. But this is typically where you want to use, I talked about earlier, compare distributions, and then you want to show the taxes. So what you might want to do is have it in single mode, and you go and show in single mode Monte Carlo, you go and show single mode compare distributions on a state, and then you go and show single mode the taxes, and then you want to put them all three together as kind of a summary. That's where I've seen a lot of planners that love that feature utilize that. And then we have our reports. I tend to tell people I don't want to spend a lot of time in reports because really that's planning the way it used to be done. And nothing wrong with that. We do use reports. I want to be really clear on that. And I have a whole eMoney where I talk about masterclass on which reports I like and why I like them. But ultimately, I want to be interactive. I want this to be conversational, that devil and angel on my shoulder. And what I find is a lot of times we get lost in what's going on in these reports. It's numbers based, not emotional based, and people aren't making that informed decision. You're also going to have your presentations in here. A lot of people always want to know, Greg, what do you use in presentation wise? I told you, we just use the go-to presentations when we want to have a deliverable. We're really big on having those deliverables every time we meet with a client, whether it's base facts, goal planner, or decision center, whichever one I'm in, because it memorializes those numbers. That client can go back and look at those reports for years to come, see the progress that they've made. There is a progress button inside of here, but it's just a really great way. We like to call it radical transparency. Be as transparent as possible. I want the client to see how they progressed along. I want them to have more information, not less information. So from a presentation standpoint of view, those are the areas that you want to present to a client in. What we're going to continue next time is we're going to dive deeper into Decision Center, pull apart Decision Center, and show you how we present that to a client.